Hello, welcome to Mountain Craft Studio. I just wanted to show you today a quick and easy way to repair your cross-stitch linen. Believe it or not, what you're looking at right now is a finished repair. Let me know if you can see it. We often, as needle workers, have something going on in the linen that we are working on. This actually has a large slub right there, which if you were depending on what you're stitching, you may not want that there. It might look like a cute wart on a witch's face, but otherwise, I don't think you're going to want that. So there are ways that you can remove those slubs and also repair small holes. Let's say you happen to drop your scissors and it pierces one of the threads, or if you got a little overzealous in your clipping of threads, which can always happen. We can repair this without removing all of the threads back to the beginning or doing any major surgery. I am a hand weaver, and so I'm familiar with weaving linen, and so I'm just going to explain real quickly how it's made so that you understand my thinking and how I do my repairs. So when linen or any woven fabric is made, they'll make it in yards and yards and yards and yards of fabric. One thread obviously cannot be used the entire time. At some point you have to put new thread onto the shuttle, and so the threads, the up and down threads are called the warp, and the back and forth is the weft. At some point the weft is going to have to be overlapped, and it happens all the time. Whatever you're wearing right now, if it's woven, you probably have overlaps and don't even realize it. You've probably seen it a million times in linen and that you're working on for needlework, and you don't realize it either. So I'm going to point a couple of them out to you, so hopefully you can see what I mean. So in this little spot, you can see right here that there's 3 threads right close together. That middle one is super thin and it ends right here. That's where the end came in. All right, and they decided they were going to stop that thread, and then they continued on weaving and then back that way, and it pretty much disappears for the most part. I actually fluffed that up so that you could see it. In other cases, the maker of this fabric didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do. It happens. It's easy to happen. And so the overlap is over here. The one thread ended, that little teeny tiny one right above my thumbnail ended, and then they ended up with a double thread that runs all the way across, which is what you don't want, because it's obvious, like it's a huge obvious error there. So whenever you want to make a repair, you can see the difference. So this is the one you don't want. This is the one that you do want down here where it's barely noticeable. The least amount of fabric that you repair, the better, because it becomes, it just blends in and it becomes hard to see. So what I'm going to do here is show you my little hole that I've made. And instead of removing these threads, any of these threads, I'm going to put a thread from the side that I've torn out of the side of the fabric, and thread it on my needle. And I'm going to lay it in right next to the fabrics that are broken. So going under and over all of the warp threads. And you're going to make sure as you do this that this is hard to do and get it in the camera and still be able to see it. So you want to make sure that you're going over the right threads and under the right threads as you do this, and you're just going to weave it in like this. And now normally it would be going over that thread even though it's not there. So you're just going to continue on as if it were there. Get that fluff out of the way. And just keep going. And you're basically sistering this thread in next to the one that was already there. And it's just going to be laying right next to it, and you're going to pull it through. And you do not need to go anchor this anywhere unless you're making a towel or something that you're going to wear and it's going to be washed a lot. There's no need to worry about anchoring the threads. So I'm going to take this now, and with my curved scissors, I'm just going to snip those ends. Stretch this a little bit, and right now you can still see the little bits from the original threads, which is good. Don't cut those off yet because you still need to go up and down, but so far you can see how it's already barely visible. So we're going to get another thread, put it onto the needle. Actually, I think I can still use this first one. Looks like it's long enough. And I have turned my fabric, and we're going to do the same thing. Very simple, very easy, assuming you can see it. This time you'll have all the threads underneath. You're just going to keep going for a while. And so you're sitting here thinking, why would you not secure that thread? None of the woven fabric that you've ever used has ever had secured threads. That's not how it's done. It doesn't need to be in there. Unless, like I said, unless you're making a washcloth or something that's going to be washed every day or used as a scrub brush. Or something like that. It's the weave of the fabric, the fact that over and under, the way that process works, it will hold that in there. It's not going anywhere. There's you've probably heard the saying, it all comes out in the wash. Well, that comes from the act of weaving fabric, and then when fabric was taken off the loom, it would be washed, and all these little repairs and things, overlaps in the process of weaving would just disappear. So that's where that actually comes from. So these are extra little fuzzy bits that I'm now just gonna cut off because we don't want those on there. There you go. Now once you continue to stitch, you'll never notice that it was there. There was a spot up here that I repaired as well, and it's pretty much gone. Now, I would not use this for drawn thread work. If you're doing drawn thread work, you may want to go make a larger hole and do a complete reweaving, depending on the area, because at that point you're worried about the strength and being able to pull those threads out and that sort of thing. But for a regular use for doing cross stitch or other type of embroidery, this is the quickest and easiest fix you'll have. Thanks for stopping by.